Welcome, and thank you for joining for another whiskey review. Today, we're going to take a look at the Port Ellen 22-year-old 1978. Dustin, another gift from not only Rare Malts, but our buddy in Nashville, Tennessee. So we're going to take a look at this 1978 60.5% ABV Port Ellen. And every time I hear the word Port Ellen, I get excited, Dustin.
Yeah.
I will say usually our friend from Nashville does not send me anything before 1976, so we'll have to forgive him.
Do we have an age statement on this one, Mike?
22 years if I didn't say
22.
that.
Okay,
right.
yeah. You probably did. I just missed it.
So I know something else that was, what would that be, bottled in 2001? 2001?
Yeah.
22-year-old, something like that. So
Did that say 60%, by the way?
60.5, buddy.
Jeez.
So Port Ellen.
I have only had Port Ellens at the fairly low ABV point, so I'm excited.
Yeah, close distillery Port Ellen. I'll be at the bringing it back. I've had a couple of Port Ellens on this. They're always usually very expensive, epic, fruity. If you like Talisker 25 cast strength, some people told me get your hands on some Port Ellens.
Or that Kalila 34 we had from Cadenheads.
Yeah, any of those.
Both of those have brought a lot of people Port Ellen notes, and on the nose, I'm thinking back to both of those whiskeys, Mike. Whew. A little bit of that spiciness you think of like with Talisker.
Definitely spicy.
And then it has that fruitiness that the Kalila had.
Yeah, that lemon loaf, that fruitiness.
That said, there is a much dirtier, sootier smoke than either of those.
Is a peated malt, I'm sure, me and Port Ellen.
Well, both of what we just mentioned were. This is much
Yeah,
sootier.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm actually just impressed by how sooty it is.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, it's dirty.
Yeah, I always say that to people, and then people are like, "Oh, really? You should say something better." When I make mention, Port Ellens always remind me of really ultra old Taliskers. Cast strength Taliskers, really ultra age. What was that one?
Kalila.
Cleo's, right. One of those two. Like when I'm thinking like some of the epic ones I had. People are like, smell it good. You know what I mean? But that's not any type of, I've rated those whiskeys 92s.
Those are epic whiskeys.
Right.
But again, with the difference here is that this, and we had your buddy up in Canada sent down some Port Ellen that we tried, and that was very much fruity, similar age too.
Yeah.
But I didn't get this level of sootiness.
This is dirty.
I mean, this is very much wood smoke / chimney smoke. Like, it's a little of both.
Buddy, one time I was at a Bears game when they were
Nice.
in NFC Championship playing the New Orleans Saints and Drew Brees and Reggie Bush. And it was in January and it was cold outside. It was Chicago. And we were burning wood. And my sweatshirt and everything I wore the next day smells just like this.
Yeah.
Beautiful, sooty coal smoke.
Yeah. It's such a crazy contrast because when if you smell it from like a distance, Mike,
Fruity.
it's all fruit. Like, you're over here, it's tropical fruits, it's beautiful, it's light. I mean, and it's got a little bit of like earthiness with it, and then you go deep in, and it's smoke.
Well, it's both. And, this is almost similar to like the Lagavulin 12's the old White Horse edition that I had where it's just very concentrate fruit notes. It's not like an airy fruit note or like a lemon cream pie or something like that. Like, it is essence of oil of lemon. Very dense lemon.
Yeah, we've had a Lagavulin or two that had this level of sooty smoke. I can't remember which ones off the top of my head, but we've had one or two that really did kind of have some of this. Now, those came with a little bit more gasoline, a little bit more sherry.
Yeah,
I would assume this is... I don't think this is sherry. It could be.
This smells dirty.
It's just... It's so crazy how different just smelling it from a distance and smelling it up close is.
So now there's sort of a medicinal note sort of being added into this. Now there's a minerality to the smoke.
I was going to say there's a little bit of like plasticine. Yeah, there's minerality. There's a little bit of white sugar.
There's some sweetness coming up now. When I saw Port Ellen on that label, when the package came here, I'm like, maybe I'm going to tell Dustin one of them broke. But for you guys, I didn't. Not for the people. Can't cheat the fans.
Yeah, it's for you guys. It's never for me.
Amen.
Mike's like, I got 6 samples here. I got the 3 Port Ellens and 2 Baroras and one other thing. Cool. I get here and he's like, hey, check out this Port Ellen. I'm like, oh, where are the other ones? They didn't make it.
Not everyone makes it over the line. Time is not your friend when it comes to epic whiskey.
Yeah,
Sitting next to me.
So my critique of this one, Mike, is going to be it doesn't have like a richness it's all like light up front and bitey. It doesn't have like a heavy sweetness. It doesn't have like a rich oiliness. It's very classic Isla Peat, where it's all like it gives a twinge to your nose, whereas like richness is like a sweetness that comes into your nose. You know, if that makes sense to you, like the
Sure.
feel. Mm-hmm. So it's all in that, like, you know, twinging, like where you're just kind of getting that feel like in the upper part of your nose, not kind of coming into the back and sticking to like the back of your throat. It's not a bad thing. It's just it doesn't have that additional depth.
Well, for me, I'm just so taken back by the smoke note. Like, it's such a rich, full smoke note. Like, if you're a person who likes peated whiskey and like super sooty, dark, smoky whiskeys, there's so much to like here. It's a weird counterbalance with the kind of a bright citrus note, I would call it, and a nice vanilla.
Yeah, I mean, that said, this is one of the best smelling whiskeys I've ever had, and this is if you're talking like what is the classic Isla profile, bro.
It's not far from this.
This.
Or you want it to be not far.
This is what Isla is supposed to smell like.
Yeah, you want it to be. You want it to be this level. Of
like, I think a lot of people that got really enamored with Ardbeg when they kind of came back was because Ardbeg is maybe the closest distillery in terms of like their young stuff kind of coming this direction. But I mean, it's nowhere close to this.
This smoke note is just so appealing to me. You know, as you know, like I grew up, you know, when I was a kid on the Mississippi River. And I remember camping, and just that smell of like a fire burning, man, is just so welcoming to me. Especially when fire's been going for a while and it gets dark and it gets sooty, and especially if there was a pit where it can have a little bit of the soot build up on it. I'm getting a beautiful version of that right here.
Starting to be able to like nose it deep and get the smoke up front, and then get that smoked like fruit note on the back, and that is where this thing is meant to be.
I mean, the vanilla and the smoke, they're trying to fight, the vanilla and the citrus are trying to fight the smoke, but they're fighting a losing battle.
I've gotten them to where they're starting to be balanced, and it's freaking amazing. it's absolutely amazing. This is taking me back to the first time I smelled Lafroig 25, and I never had like 25-year-old peated whiskey like that. This is better. This is making me feel that way, like that time. And I've had 50 whiskeys at that level since then. This is like taking me like blowing me away again.
Woo!
God. Oh, God, just remember this is 60%. Oh,
this is smoky. Smoked bomb. I mean, there's some citrus in it. I really didn't get a lot of the alcohol up front, but man, this is oaky and smoky. That is leather in a gentleman's room in 18th century England where they have been smoking in there for 6 days. Leather, maybe. Charred blackened leather. Whew. That is a smoke punch.
Yeah. So the arrival is those sweet citrus fruits. Beautiful, elegant, refined, and simple. And then the smoke comes punching through earthiness, tobacco. It's tobacco like cigar wrappers. Fresh cut tobacco, along with like antique leather chair, slightly burnt paper.
It's hard to get past all the smoke, but you're right. Leather chair. It's almost like when the railroad came through the West. It's like here comes a big coal, burning train just chugging through the middle of your town, and no matter what else is going on, you're choked by that smoke.
Yeah, this
is industrial 1850s smoke out of a factory.
And then the finish. Not the initial finish, but the long lingering finish.
Wow.
It's simple. It's nothing special, but it's that classic kind of Kalila or Port Charlotte just smoke that just lingers, holds on. A little more intense than most of those we'll get to, but it's the same style, classic.
It's
kind of my favorite kind of lingering smoke note.
I agree.
Because it's just
it's cigar almost. I almost feel like vapor should be leaving my mouth.
Yeah.
It's that smoky.
It's not a sweet cigar wrapper, but it's not a really heavily dark one either. It's just kind of a balanced, rich one. It's letting the tobacco do a lot of the talking. Wow.
Smoking the leaf.
You know, what's crazy about this, Mike, is I don't think there's anything other than the intensity that is like incredibly exceptional by itself. It's the way it all went together that is just freaking incredible. Now, mind you, also at 60%.
Yeah, I mean, I love the smoke notes on here. And there are multiple notes. I love the nose, the smoke on the nose. I love the smoke on the taste. I love the volume of it. Like, I love everything about this smoke note. But it is just a smoke note and lemon and a little bit of vanilla. Having said that, it's so more complicated than those three things I said.
Well, so I just went back.
And big time tobacco.
I just went back.
Sticky tobacco.
What's really interesting is initially the arrival is it's that sweet lemon lime, smoked lemon lime up front. But then it transitions. Actually, at first I thought it transitioned right to the smoke, but no, there's a transition where it gets earthier, oilier, a little more bitter, starts bringing in a little touch of vegetal, and then the smoke bomb comes through.
Let me try to go back because
that sets up
so quick.
Yeah, I didn't catch that at first. But yeah, there's another transition there that I missed, and that's, God, you don't get that in whiskey. I mean, that's 4 transitions. You get that, then the smoke, where it's just like this explosion of bonfire and spice with the smoke, with the leather, the tobacco, all that stuff. And then there's just that clean wood smoke finish, a la Kalila, Port Charlotte, but very sticky, very long lasting. Whew. God dang.
You're right. Very sweet citrus sweetness, vanilla citrus sweetness on the palate initially. A little bit of salt, but man, that smoke bomb comes in, and it's just smoke and leather. Maybe a little bit of salt on that leather. A little bit of Harborman's jacket.
Yeah. You know, that's a good note is that there is definitely some saltiness to this.
Here's a rugged whiskey, Dustin.
Ooh, we have shifted the balance with water. It's gotten more oily. It's got more vanilla. A little bit of waxiness came through. Fruits are really subdued now. A lot of like fall notes. I mean, it's like, again, tobacco leaves in the fall in the barn.
Tobacco notes are kind of, with water, are sort of sashaying into wet leaves, burning wet
Hence
leaves.
wet cinnamon.
And this is the roadhouse of peated whiskeys.
Maybe even a speckle of like nutmeg or something.
There is a dash of some sort of, not sweet, but not a traditional spice either.
Just, I mean, it's something else in there. More bakery like.
Man, I cannot get over the volume of smoke at this.
Okay, smoke's come down with the water, but the spice went way up.
Smoke's getting dirty, dark.
Oh man, the whole whiskey experience now with water is like darker. The mid palate is very dark now. Now bringing a little bit of mintiness to it, dark mint. I mean, I want to say chocolate, but I don't think I'm getting chocolate. It's getting more chocolate-esque. It's like mint tobacco, maybe.
Oh man,
Heavy leather. Oh man,
as an Isle
what
fan,
a stunner!
Yeah, as an Isle fan, man, this is excellent.
This is incredible.
I didn't expect it to be this dark and sooty. It's almost now with water. It's like the citrus notes are reaching like that Kalila 35 level, where they went from like a bright citrus to like a dark citrus.
Well, yeah, the 35 from the 30 got just way darker in every aspect. It's the 30, but just turned black.
And you say the smoke has gone down. Okay, I don't necessarily think you're wrong. It's still 60% of this.
Well, and the finish is a dirtier smoke now too. Like where before I was talking about clean smoke, now it's gotten dirty.
Yeah, right.
I don't even
It's
have a comp
dirtier.
for the dirty smoke now. It's it's biting on all areas of my tongue, my cheeks. Everything's just kind of being bitten by this rough, aggressive, biting smoke, and it's...
This is like chewing on a cigar almost, the smoke note.
Oh, man. Yeah, the only difference is I'm not feeling it anywhere like else. Oh, my God. Like, this is incredible.
Like chewing on ashes almost, like you put the end in. You put the cigar out on your tongue.
I can't even drink anymore right now, Mike, of this particular whiskey because I got to save some for later to let it open up.
All right.
And let my mouth like just fully experience what it's doing right now. It's so incredible.
All right, Dustin, where as far as whiskey score on this one?
93. I feel bad, on a sample going that high.
I do too.
But it couldn't be less than a 92. This is everything I want in peated whiskey. Besides, I'm sure this is a bourbon cask or a hogshead or something. It's beautiful wood. It's a smoke I love the most. It's so clean, refined in that smoke, and yet it brings us all the age. The 60% is incredible. It does not punch like 60%. It has no off notes from that. And it just lingers, and it just bites, and it just coats everything. This is incredible. Thank you. God, thank you.
92. I mean, I was gonna feel bad going 92 for the same reason you did. It's a sample. I mean, but I'm such an Islay lover. Like this, it gives me exactly what I want.
I mean, this is better than Kalila 35, and that's why it has to be a 93.
It is better than Kalila 35, and I think I gave that a 92 or 93.
That's why it's got to be a 93. This is just, and again, it's hitting everything I like. I love the tropical fruits initially, but then I like how it got darker.
I never got tropical, but.
There's some tropical.
I wish I got that.
I know I said lemon lime, but at the same time, there is a tropicalness to it. It's everything I'm looking for.
I mean, I would say vanilla, and then there was like those candied lemons, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, you're probably right, and I'm probably overthinking it. I've been so enamored by the smoke note on this entire experience. Like I can't focus on something else for more than 2 or 3 seconds.
The fruits were really what kind of brought me in. And again, it brings me back to that freaking Kalila 34 of the fruitiness, but yet. The smoke is just so much better on this.
I feel like I need to wash my mouth out with soap because it's that dirty because of what just happened.
Well, then remember,
I feel like I said all the bad customers.
And then initially I got some of that Talisker spice, and now that's kind of subdued. And now I'm getting more like mint notes. But this has taken me through all of my favorite notes of my favorite distilleries.
Right. I do feel that like Old Port Ellen does walk a line somewhere in between or adjacent or parallel with Talisker and Kalila to some degree.
It's just so much smokier. That's what really takes it to that next level for me.
But it went over and above like Lagavulin density of smoke, and it went even ashier and dirtier than like Lefroy when Lefroy gets cigar smoke dirty, like with the 16.
It didn't have any of the iodine, but you're right. It had the smoky.
Cigar.
Yeah,
well, think of like the director's cut,
like
that 22-year-old like Luxor Distillery,
but those kind of cheated by using sherry to get those cigar notes. And this did it without, which is what also makes it so great.
I was going to come around and touch on that exact point because the other one I was going to bring up was the signatory 16-year 1988.
Yeah.
But you're right. They use sherry cask to create that effect. And it is rare that you get some, assuming this is bourbon cask maturation, because we do these blind, assuming this is bourbon cask maturation, how many times have you gotten tobacco leather notes on a bourbon cask maturation whiskey?
It's got to be usually much older.
Agreed. Was it 22?
22, yeah.
Yeah, agreed. I've never experienced that on something that young.
I mean, this just did everything. I mean, we probably say some leather and stuff like that, but it's like a subtle, that's a little bit there. This is heavy.
Volume here is the key with this whiskey. Volume with the leather. Volume with the citrus notes. Volume with the smoke, more importantly than anything else. This has as much Islay smoke as any whiskey I've ever tried. Well, Steve will probably tell me no. Just refill the Oloroso.
It could be, but man, it's subtle if it is. Oh. Boy, is it subtle.
I hope I'm not wrong one time.
This is like the one whiskey I don't want to be wrong on. But, hey, whatever.
This is a beautiful whiskey. Yeah, 92, 93. Man, I didn't think I'd like this whiskey that much. Which just goes to show you. I don't know how many incredible whiskeys I've had between 21, 22 years old and like 15. Like that range, you can still just get
stunners.
Like some of my favorite whiskeys ever were in that range.
Yeah.
Some great ones.
When they're small batches or single casks, they can be stunners. It's the bigger batches that it's a little harder to do it with.
Rare malts. It's always a good one.
Great stuff.
Always a good one. All right, those are our thoughts on this particular whiskey. I'm sure you guys have all had a chance to try Port Ellen 22-year-old rare malts from 1978 at 60.5% ABV. So,
If they're at the dollar store, Walmart.
So let us know what you guys think of this particular one in the comments section. Dustin, until next time, what do we wish the folks?
Happy. The distillery isn't even open, man.
Thanks, Tennessee.